Welcome back to your live continuing coverage of New York Comic Con 2015 in New York City. I'm Michael Artis. We're at the Jacob K. Javits Center. You're watching BeTerrific.com, and you are the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. I've got a really great guest because this guy, I mean, he's just got such an amazing, amazing show coming up really soon, and we want to promote it because you guys want to go see it. I want to go see it. I want to know if I can get tickets. It's Back to the Future in concert. It's going to be at Radio City. You guys hooked up with Patrick and Bill Shea. They were kind of doing some promotional stuff for you. That's how we got in contact with you. Those are the guys who own a DeLorean from the third movie.
Right.
And they have a tribute card that's film accurate, and we've got all sorts of amazing other stuff. It's 30 years since the first movie. October 21st, 1985 is, I'm sorry, October 21st, 2015 is the year Marty travels to in the future.
Right.
And then the movie came out somewhere in June, I believe, in 1985.
Right, exactly. Future Day is October 21st, 2015. We both did the same thing.
Yeah. It's been a long week with Comic-Con and everything.
Exactly. 2015, although you don't actually know it until Back to the Future 2. So at the end of Back to the Future 1, they get in the DeLorean and they travel to the future, but you don't know that that's the date until Back to the Future 2.
Right.
Because you don't actually see the...
Steve, Back to the Future 2 is my favorite, by the way.
Ah, okay. Well, we're only doing Back to the Future 1.
Right, but I
Radio
think,
City.
no, I love them. I love all three of them.
Right.
3 is the one I like the least. 1 is the second most one I like, but number 2 is the one I love.
Ah, interesting.
Number 1 I love though too. And people make points that sway me almost to being like, oh, I almost love number 1 the most. But what you pointed out before, Steve, and I think that's amazing, is you're doing a full orchestra, first of all.
Right.
You guys are film concerts live, and you're doing a full orchestra. This isn't the only film you've done, but what's cool is, like, you pointed out to me off camera, I've seen the movie many times since it came out, but only once on a big screen.
Right, and I think that's the excitement of this particular event. It's next Thursday and Friday at Radio City. It's New Jersey Symphony Orchestra performing Alan Silvestri's score live, conducted by David Newman, who's an Oscar-nominated composer himself. Alan was also an Oscar-nominated composer. And it's on a giant screen at Radio City. It's actually where I saw my first movie many years ago, because Radio City actually has a long history of presenting films. And a lot of people don't remember that, but that's where films used to premiere in New York in the 60s and 70s. So we're putting up the giant screen. It's like a live scoring session, and there is no experience like seeing Back to the Future on a big screen with a live orchestra with 5,000 people sitting at Radio City cheering when during the clock tower sequence at the end of the film, when Marty travels finally back to the future.
You know, I love Radio
say.
City. I've been there a ton of times. It's a great venue for all sorts of stuff, live shows as well. The Christmas Spectacular and the Rockettes are what it's most known for. Where they have this amazing stage where they can bring stuff in, fly it, the stage drops, comes up, moves around. They put ice in there during the Rockettes Spectacular. And I can't say enough how right you are, because about this being the perfect venue. I always thought the Ziegfeld was the place that movies premiered. I think that's like since the 40s and 50s, maybe 60s, 70s even. But Radio City is so legendary, and I didn't know that they used to premiere movies. So the fact that you can go to Radio City and watch this and sit with 5,000 other people and have an orchestra, which, by the way, isn't that how they used to, way back? Isn't that how they used to have movies? They'd show it and they'd have live music?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the things about this project, Film Concerts Live, which is a joint venture of 2 companies, IMG Artists and the Gorfaine Schwartz Agency, we came together and we started putting these projects together. So we have 6 films out. Besides Back to the Future, we have the last 2 Star Trek films, which are scores by Michael Giacchino, the J.J. Abrams films. We have E.T., we're premiering Raiders of the Lost Ark in December, and we also have Home Alone, also scored by John Williams. But the idea is going back to the way movie watching was originally supposed to be. When you think about silent films were obviously silent, and the music was performed live. So you have you either had an organ or an orchestra, and you had a silent film. Well, then music got integrated into the film, and talkies came in the 1920s, and the orchestras and the live music went away. So we're bringing the live music back, but also think about in the old days when movies used to be in giant cinemas with 2,000 people or 1,000 people, like Radio City, where I saw my first movie. Then they got smaller, and movie theaters got smaller. They're getting a little bigger now, but then people started watching them on TVs and iPads and iPhones, and eventually you watch it on your watch.
You think that's going to happen? I hope not.
I hope not,
watching
too.
it on my phone's crazy. I'm looking at Jenny saying Back to the Future is one of his favorite movies. He's in Finland. He's in our Slack chat, and he's like, wow, if I could watch this in Radio City, how cool would that be?
There is nothing like seeing it it's a communal experience, and you want to see it with your friends. You want to see it with a large group of people. We've done it all over the world. We've done it in London, Madrid, Paris, Los Angeles, Washington,
That's
DC.
incredible.
We're about to do it in Tokyo, Mexico City, everywhere, and they're giant crowds, up to 16,000 people, where at the Hollywood Bowl we had 16.5, almost 17,000 people one night watching Back to the Future all together on a giant screen.
Wow,
I mean,
that's amazing.
It's almost indescribable what that experience is like.
How did you guys come up with the idea for film concerts live?
Well, we've always, my producing partner, Jamie Richardson, and I have both had long histories of doing film concerts. My history back when I worked at the Hollywood Bowl, Jamie has worked with John Williams for many, many years, helping to produce his concerts all over the U.S. and around the world. So we thought there's an idea here of producing these concerts, full film evenings, and playing the music live. And it has resonated all over the United States and now all over the world. People like to see a film in that context, and you get to rediscover the scores. The composers love it because it's an opportunity for them to hear their music performed complete, which they never do.
How do they work out the timing? Because you really got to time it, right? You can't miss even like, if you miss by a second, you're screwing the whole film.
Well, it's all synced with a series of, there's a computer screen in front of the conductor with a series of what we call streamers, which are white lines that go across the screen, and punches, which is like a visual metronome, and click track. So all the
very
musicians,
sophisticated.
Yeah, and so it just keeps them completely in sync. So
and they're very isolated, probably. They probably don't, they know that the crowd's there, but they're very in their own little world when they're doing this. I imagine.
But the violins, the way they're positioned, they get to sort of watch the film because they're positioned this way and the screen is here, so they can.
Do you think they're really watching? I think they're like.
Well, not when they're playing, but there are times when there isn't score actually happening. So they sneak a peek at the film. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You think they're?
Well, no, they're not. They don't have their cameras on screen. They don't have their cameras on stage.
Somebody might sneak one out. I would be that guy. Well, I would be like, I got to get this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, if you go on the internet, you can see. Actually, well, I shouldn't be saying this, but on YouTube, there's a clip of the entire.
I was only going to shoot a photo. Somebody shot a clip.
Somebody shot a great clip of the entire clock tower sequence from the concert at the Hollywood Bowl. And I encourage you to watch it and listen to the crowd response, because that is what you'll experience at Radio City.
So how do I get tickets to Radio City?
RadioCity.com is the easiest way to find out information. There's and just look for the Back to the Future concerts. We have 4 special guests that are going to appear both nights. We have Alan Silvestri, the composer.
Wow.
We have Bob Gale, who's the writer-producer, who is sort of Mr. Back to the Future, who has really committed a lot of his life to the whole Back to the Future franchise.
Hey, do you guys need anybody to live stream this backstage, like interviews with these guys?
Well, we can talk about it. And we also have James Tolkien, who played Mr. Strickland, Principal Strickland, in the film.
Hey, would I not,
Dead Ringer.
Oh my God! I could be him 20 years, 30 years ago.
Dead Ringer.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
McFly.
No, but
no. I'm saying McFly. That was his line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd's
going
to be there.
You have Christopher Lloyd there.
Yeah,
wow,
Chris
he
Lloyd's
is the nicest guy in the world.
He is. He's fantastic. He was there at the Hollywood Bowl. People love to see him. He's been a big supporter of this project.
Does he get on stage and say, "Great Scott"?
No, but we might be able to convince him to do it.
I think so. You know what'd be cool? You should call Patrick and Bill Shea, get them to bring the DeLorean back out here, maybe the one from 3, and roll it on stage and kind of have it like in the corner so people can watch the movie, and there it is.
They actually, when the Cincinnati Pops did it last month in Cincinnati at the Music Hall, they have a part of the stage that lowers, and at the beginning of the concert, just before it started, they raised the stage and brought up a DeLorean in front of the audience.
All right, let's take it one step further then.
Okay.
It is Radio City. How about this? You'd have
with
to
Rockettes.
You ready for this? You have to do some fancy dancing, because you'd have to get the you'd have to get the Shays to do this. But what if you flew it?
Oh, okay.
What if you flew it and then had Rockettes in it, like leaning out?
We'll see if we can.
They could open the doors and they could kick a little.
Well, it should be able to flux capacitate in there. You know, we shouldn't have to drive it in. It should just appear, right?
Well, it's flying. That's what I said.
Yeah,
yes.
we just have to make sure we can get it up to 88 miles an hour down 6th Avenue.
Well, so if you were coming, let's see, where's the screen? I'm going to think about this. If you're, okay, let me think. The screen, is the screen on 6th Avenue? Because you'd want to be able to drive, like, I think you got to come, yeah, I think you got to come down 51st Street, I think, and then kind of take the left onto 6th, but miss the left. You got to, like, so that you go straight through the theater doors.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Because you're going to have to come down low to get in.
Exactly. The other
or
thing,
you could lower through the roof because it could, you know, it hovers.
The other thing that's interesting about this project, which you should know, is Alan Silvestri wrote. We had asked Alan when we first looked at this project. There's actually in the original film, when you watch it, there's only about 40.
You're not that amused by me. I'm kind of offended. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just moving on. But this is interesting because only in this project, only in the Back to the Future Live will you see this and hear it. In the original film, there's only about 40 minutes of original orchestral score in the film. And we thought that really wasn't enough to make it interesting for the orchestra and interesting to do it with a live orchestra. So we asked Alan if he would consider writing new music.
And he did?
And he did.
Wow.
He wrote 20 minutes of additional score. And I'm not going to tell you where it is. We'll let people who are fans of the film figure out where it is.
But doesn't some of it repeat? I mean, like, dun, dun,
oh yeah. I mean, you'll hear that a little bit more. And what he did was, it's very.
I'll just do it while you talk.
Yeah,
It'll
exactly.
Be like,
you can underscore my
I'll
talking.
Underscore you.
I like that.
Am I that bad? Am I completely off tone?
No, you're perfect.
Okay, I am.
You're
okay.
perfect. So I like that. That's good. So there's 20 minutes of additional music that has never been heard before. It underscores all throughout the film. Bob Zemeckis approved it. Universal approved it. Everybody was incredibly supportive of it. It's really, really interesting.
We're probably going to get sued for that little thing then, right there, because Universal didn't approve that.
They did. Well, they may not have approved you saying
that's amazing. It must have been hard to get Universal to approve that. And you got him to write it. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. He was great.
And so they should release that somehow, like a special DVD pack, or they should release this showing of it. Maybe they could, they could actually just take the movie and have the orchestra doing it live. Like
someday.
This is like a side business for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there's a lot of movies you guys do. And, like you do E.T. and maybe you could do Jaws. I don't know. Maybe you've already done it even.
Not yet.
But it's not the same. Like, why does Back to the Future have such a following that is so ferocious? You could fill a 5,000 seat arena or 16,000 seat place, and not only that, but like, you don't. It's just interesting. Like, you see people walking around here. How many Marty McFlys did you have? You don't see sharks walking around. You certainly don't see anybody dressed like Richard Dreyfuss's character, which I can't even remember at the moment. Somebody should walk around though as, what was the boat's name? I can't even remember. The boat in Jaws. What was the ship?
Oh my God.
The Orca. How come nobody walks around as a broken up Orca? Or you don't have anybody. Have you seen one E.T. here?
No, I haven't walked around enough. But
yeah, no, you have. Because I have, and I haven't.
I feel there's probably one here.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, in 2 years is the 35th anniversary of E.T.
We'll have to see if there are more E.T.s. But
yeah.
There's something about Back to the Future. Does that make it special for you guys too?
Yeah. Well, first of all, this year's the 30th anniversary, so that's what makes it special to do it this year, and there's been so much. You
should do it every year on October 21st. I would go every year. How much are tickets? They're reasonable, right?
They start at $28.88.
That's reasonable.
All the tickets are priced at $88. You know, get it?
Got it.
So they started $28.88.
Now all the people online, they're all like, it couldn't go 88 when Marty was making that turn at 35 miles an hour, and then he had to go 88.
They're analyzing. Somebody's dividing it by pi.
And guess what? You can't time travel either, so why do you care that the car couldn't make that turn at 35 and then speed up to 88? And by the way, maybe they cut out all the other stuff. Maybe it was like you missed the cut, all right? It's movie magic. Just stop.
Exactly. It worked in the film. That's all that matters.
And if like they had used the original thing, which was a refrigerator instead of a car, would you have gone, my Frigidaire doesn't do that.
Exactly.
I can't step in there and go back in time. Anyway, it doesn't go to -0.
No, it doesn't. But I think there's something about this film that resonates even 30 years later. If you watch it, especially on the big screen next Thursday and Friday at Radio City, the story is still relevant. It's still funny. It's still charming. it's a trip back in time, but it's a trip that's still relevant to today.
Favorite scene from the movie?
Without a doubt, the clock tower sequence.
Really?
I love the clock tower sequence.
I think that
I mean, that, and again, I mean, I hate to keep harping on the live event of it, but that moment when he hits the 88 miles an hour and the lightning bolt hits the thing sticking out of the DeLorean in the back, the pole, and he goes back to 1985, is magic when you see it with 5,000 people.
I could imagine. I'll tell you my favorite scene, and I'll tell you why. Well, first of all, I was taken to the movie and nobody told me what it was about. Like, I didn't know. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and it's this kid and all this stuff, and he gets a skateboard and he's late for school and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he's at this thing with Doc, and they're pulling, and now I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Is it going to be a chemistry lab? Like, I'm not really sure. And I'm a kid and I'm not that into chemistry, and like, what's with the suit and the whole deal. And then when the DeLorean comes out, and I think it was the line that Marty says that actually I get, that's when I get it, because I was also 5, okay? And he goes, wait a minute, Doc, you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Right.
That's the scene to me. And then he's got the remote control, and they send Einstein, and then Marty jumps in and starts driving this thing, and there's that whole thing, and then he's in 55. Like, to me, that's my favorite scene. And it's also because I'm like already so attached to Doc I had no attachment to Doc before that. I've already become so attached to Doc in that, and I'm 5, so I can't realize, like, you could be an adult and realize at some point he's going to come back in time and save Doc, right?
Sure.
Somehow, this is Hollywood. But I'm 5, I don't understand that. So I had formed an attachment in that, wait a minute, Doc, you built a time machine out of a DeLorean? In that little, because other than that, I didn't have that attachment. I remember this vividly, that I had it. I remember as soon as he gets to 1955, I'm like, but Doc's dead. Doc's dead. And I was like sad. And then Doc's there, and I'm like, and the whole rest of the movie, I'm like, but Doc's dead. But this guy's dead.
Yeah.
So like, to me, there's that whole, like, it was such a mystery to me. Like, it was all magic. Like, today, if I watched it, I totally think it was a great movie still, like, even if I had never seen it before. But as soon as they go back in time, I'd know, okay, saving Doc.
Well, my other favorite line is the line when he's talking about Ronald Reagan. You know, he says, you know, Ronald Reagan, the president.
Yes.
Ronald Reagan, the actor.
Yes, that is a great.
You know, and it gets a huge laugh.
Well, and I love when he goes up to Goldie, who's in the diner.
Yeah,
and he's like sweeping the floor. And he goes, "One day you're going to be mayor."
And he says,
"That's a pretty good idea."
I like the sound of that. Yes. I've seen the movie a few times.
A few times, right?
Exactly.
Oh man, that is such a great scene. And we figured out yesterday. Do you know what the car that Biff was driving in 1955 is? This is such like an obscure trivia. I thought it was a Buick or an Oldsmobile. It's not.
No, what is it?
It's a 46 Ford, and I forget the exact super something convertible.
A super something convertible.
Well, I can't remember. I'm a car guy too. It's killing me now.
Oh, what? I mean, I can see it, but I don't know what it was.
A Ford.
I never actually looked.
Yeah. Super obscure. I don't know how we came up with this yesterday.
But you know, the thing about this movie also is that it just doesn't resonate here. It resonates the same everywhere. When we did it in Paris, the audience stood and cheered at the end of the performance for 15 minutes.
Wow.
They wouldn't let the orchestra lead the stage.
Are there tickets available?
Yes, there are still tickets available.
There's still some tickets. It just hit me because I was like, I was about to say like I'm definitely going, and then I realized, well, I might not be definitely going.
There are still tickets available. The easiest place to go is radiocity.com or Ticketmaster. Either one. Those are the easiest places to go to find tickets.
And when you sell out, if like people decide to, why would you wait? Just do it now. But if you did, you could then go back in time to this interview and
exactly, and then
order them,
and then
go back to the future.
Exactly, and flux capacitate back to
The flux is the best thing. You know, my wife bought me for Christmas the best present.
A flux capacitor?
It's a flux capacitor cigarette lighter charger. It charges my phones. You know, it plugs into the cigarette lighter and it charges my phone. Yeah,
that's funny. And my older sister bought me a Back to the Future 3-car replica for my office.
Oh, that's it. I'm out of here.
Sorry.
You win.
I know.
You have the biggest toys.
Pretty cool.
That I'm so jealous.
It makes noise. You know, it's like.
Well, my friends took me for a ride in the DeLorean. All right. You probably got that.
I'll show you my picture of the DeLorean. We've had them everywhere. We had one in Lucerne. We premiered the show in May in Lucerne, Switzerland, with the 21st Century Orchestra.
Wow.
With David Newman conducting also. Then we had one in London at Royal Albert Hall. Sold out 2 shows at Albert Hall. We had one in Los Angeles. They had one in Cincinnati. I mean, they've had them everywhere. We had one here last week for some promotion for this week's concert.
Yeah, so, but what's amazing is, I was going to say, is Pepsi's got the Pepsi Cafe here, and they've got like a real knockoff, and it's like, I call it a replicar. It's like it's like when you would see a Pontiac Fiero back in the day that some guy tried to make look like a 308 Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on.
Pontiac Fiero.
It's okay that you have a Pontiac Fiero.
Sorry, Pontiac.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a mistake.
Yeah, what? Really? Everybody thinks you're Magnum. Okay, right.
Although I bet people would still like Pacers, because that was around that time. That was like 80, early 80s.
So this is like, it's a DeLorean that somebody butchered, and it just looks terrible. And so like when you see what the Shays have, that's why you guys bring out the real deal with the Shays.
Right.
When you see that, it makes such a difference, and then people really get giddy. This is like, oh, hey.
Well, it's amazing. When we had the DeLorean here on Thursday,
we did an interview
Wednesday.
outside, and Andrea could barely do the interview. The people were like, wanted to take a photo, batting her. You know, we had to get security.
We had
NYPD came out, and then they get
normally they're going to ticket you.
No, this is what they do. They get crowd control around the car so we can do the interview, and then you notice while we're doing the interview,
they're all taking pictures.
They're all taking pictures.
Of course, we had a Fresh Direct truck who stopped the truck, blocking traffic because he wanted to get out of the truck so he could take pictures. He didn't care. There were buses behind him. Nobody honked. Everybody knew what was happening. There was a bus that drove by, and every single person in the bus was looking, you know.
That's insane.
It was great.
All right, RadioCity.com. RadioCity.com. Oh my God, it is unbelievable.
Thursday and Friday, October 15 and 16 at 8 o'clock.
October 15 and 16 at 8 o'clock, Thursday and Friday. At 8 o'clock. Is that the clock? Is that the time? Is that when? What was the time? It was midnight, wasn't it? It was midnight.
Yeah, 10:04 exact. Thank you.
It was 10:04. 10:04. How do I not know? How do you know? Of course I know how you know that. How do I not know? And you know what else? You know what else you got to do? You got to go. Not only do you have to RadioCity.com, buy the tickets. It's amazing. Thank you to the Shays, Bill and Patrick Shay, for setting this up, for setting so much up. And also, I got to thank the guys from Back in Time for like starting this whole ball rolling. You got to go backintimemovie.com, backintimefilm.com, backintimefilm.com. October 21st, it is available on iTunes, Netflix, everything. But here's the deal: you can pre-order it now on iTunes, so don't wait. Back in Time Film, and go to RadioCity.com right now, because it's. I mean, probably now it's sold out. You have to go back to the beginning of the interview, but try. There might be a ticket or two available.
Yeah.
Now,
and there's some VIP tickets left for Thursday night. VIP tickets afterwards. You get to meet Alan and Bob. There's a little gift. We're not going to tell you what it is, but they're going to be signing something afterwards.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the beginning of this interview so that I can buy my own ticket.
Excellent. Good idea.
Yeah. I love it, and they're reasonable. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Steve,
great.
Thank you so much for coming on.
We'll see you at Radio
Michael
City.
Arcis. You're the Terrifics. You know what? You know where I'll be Thursday and Friday. Radio City Music Hall. Wednesdays get geeked. Radio City Music Hall Thursday. And go both days. We'll see you there, and hopefully maybe we'll like do some interviews or live stream something. I don't know. We'll talk. Anyway, we'll be back with a whole lot more with your live continuing coverage of New York Comic Con right after this from the Jacob K. Javits Center in New York City. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.